Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video we're looking at some of the best off-meta decks to climb with in Wild. Now, off-meta means that it's not a list that you typically see on a meta report, but it's not a meme deck, and all of these lists have had some sort of success at Legend. So we start off with Togwaggle Druid by Evil Devil. This is a list that I featured in a previous video. Really fun to play. Celestial Alignment gives Druid lots of things to play with. In this case, you play your Celestial Alignment, and then you can play the King Togwaggle as Alina to copy the random spell back. You've got your opponent's deck. They're in big trouble. A lot of the time you draw so fast that you end up in fatigue, so you just give them an empty deck, and you win the game. If you'd like to play something a little bit more aggressive, we've got Token Druid. So Token Druid, it's a deck that was good in Standard for a bit, and it kind of leaked over into Wild, and it still kind of lingers in the background. This specific list, it's a little bit more on the mid-range side. So you see things like Oaken Summons in there, Vargoth for survival. But definitely a fun list to try out, and definitely one I'm going to be trying as well. Now, my go-to Druid list is typically Aggro Druid. It's one of my personal favorites. It's one of the first decks I played in Wild. This latest update of Aggro Druid by Oddlaw is a really good build. You notice that it's got the double Robes of Protection, which is incredible against Odd Questline Hunter. You've got the double Crystal Merchant, because a lot of the time with Aggro Druid, you're just kind of floating mana. Maybe just like float a mana or something. And it's a 2-mana 1/4, so it's still a really good body. But otherwise, it's just really aggressive. The games end very quickly. And then the last Druid deck I want to feature is Yata's Control Druid. So again, it's based around Celestial Alignment going off. Once you've got that Celestial Alignment going, your top end is your 2 Alex Strausses, Master Oakheart, Ysera Unleashed, Dark Moon Rabbit, just to cause all sort of pain and frustration for your opponent, and it's a ton of fun. I've watched Yata playing it on his stream. I haven't played the deck myself, because as you can see, I'm missing some cards, but I'm definitely a deck to try. Now, you may have noticed there were no Demon Hunter lists. Demon Hunter's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. No one's really experimenting much with Hunter. Odd Questline Hunter is just dominating the meta. I haven't seen very much experimentation. Maybe the odd Reno deck here and there, but nothing worthy of mentioning. So we're moving on to Mage, beginning with Reno Secret Mage by 27E18. This specific build, you got to be careful because this was teched for a high legend meta. When I look at this list, it appears to me that possibly he was running into a lot of maybe Big Priest or even Reno Lock with taunts and things like that, just trying to get the demons out of the pool. So you see there's Devolving Missiles. You've also got Polymorph Boar, Potion of Polymorph. So really targeting decks that are cheating out really big minions early in the game. Something else I want to mention about this list is there's no Ice Block, because again, at High Legend, there's often a little bit less aggro than you might see if you're climbing up to Legend yourself. So just be aware, no Ice Block in this list. Maybe swap something out for it if you want to. Next up, we have Exodia Mage. So this is a very old school deck. It's one of the original Hearthstone decks. Of course, it's been updated with the current sets in mind. But this is a great version of Exodia Mage to play if you play on a mobile device, or if you really struggle with the APM playing Ignite Mage. This is a nice alternative. The APM is a lot easier to crank out. It's not as fast, it's not as good, but it's a nice alternative. Another Reno deck, Reno Control Mage. So This list, I'm not sure what ranks roughly Legend this list was playing around at, but when I have a scroll through the list, I mean, there are a lot of tech cards in here. You've got Devolving Missiles, you've got the Sir Finley Murgleton Grizzled Wizard combo, which is mainly for the odd Questline hunters and the Evenlocks. There's an Ignite in here, which is kind of cute. So, kind of one of many win conditions in the list. There's a Big Game Hunter for the Evenlocks. Polymorph, probably for the Evenlocks. You'll notice that it's not a Luna's Pocket Galaxy build, so it really is a kind of a grinder, control mage sort of deck. There's no Frostlich Jaina, which I find kind of weird. But there is Amazing Reno, and that's always a fun one to have. So I would take this one with a slight caution. I haven't tested it myself. I've got all the cards, so I will test it. But it's pretty hard to find Reno Mage lists out there right now, so this is the best we have right now. Next mage deck to look at is Hand Mage. So Hand Mage is basically where you are getting out your Goldshire Gnolls, Mountain Giants, Corridor Creepers as early as possible, and then playing Conjurer's Calling on them and making absolutely ridiculous boards. To help you get to that process, you've got cards that put a lot more cards in your hand. So you see things like Confection Cyclone, for example. You've got some stall tactics with Armor Vendor, Cult Neophyte, anti-aggro texts like Explosive Sheep just to survive so that you can get that ridiculous high roll going. And the last mage deck, it's finally happened. Someone has success with Hero Power Mage. Yeah, again, I haven't tested this deck, but I'm really hyped to try it out. You'll notice that it has the Sir Finley Grizzled Wizard combo because of the odd Questline Hunter and the Evenlocks. It's just all about hero powering as much as possible, and then you've got Clockwork Automaton, which synergizes with your hero power. You've got Janalai, the Dragonhawk. You've got Mordresh Fire Eye. Definitely, if you want to play something very off meta, this would be a good one to try out. Moving on to Paladin. Questline Paladin. I saw this list and had to blink a couple times when I saw that curve. At first, I thought it was someone messing with me, trying to do a Yes Paladin. This is not a Yes Paladin. For those who don't know, Yes Paladin is 29 1-drops in Skulking Geist. And then you concede. But yeah, 27 1-drops. So this is basically a tax, like a secret tax paladin. Because of the quest line, you can get some good value off it with your, with your recruits, things like that. You essentially become an odd paladin eventually that makes 3/3s instead of 1/1s. So basically, you just kind of stall out, get that quest done, make a good board, draw cards with Divine Favor, and then when you're ready, smack them with a Conviction, and you win. Looks pretty fun. Even Paladin. This is a list that I featured as well previously by Kenray. Really fun list. I think it's pretty strong. I tested it and had some pretty good success with it. Again, because you're running things like Dark Conviction, it's a great tech for the Evenlocks. You've got Nerebar Weblord, which bricks decks a lot of the time. Rebuke to slow things down. It's just really fun, very fast. If you want to play even Paladin, this would be a great way to do so. Okay, Murloc Ramp Paladin. This is quite the deck. So the reason it's called Ramp is because of Nosdormu the Timeless, setting each player's mana crystals to 10. The Murlocs come in because of Tip the Scales. And because you're at 10 mana, why not one Varian King of the Stormwind? Why not run some Clowns? Why not bring back your Murlocs? Why not play a Darkmoon Rabbit? you're ramping up to 10 very early in the game. So, yeah, deck's pretty cool. The red scale Dragon Tamer helps you get the Nozdormu a little earlier than normal, so you can play it on curve. Definitely a deck to try out. Then there's the more traditional Murloc Paladin. So this is your Tip the Scales build. It's been teched by this player to their current meta, so you'll notice that there's a Galactic Crawler in there for the pirates. There's a Zephyrus in there, which some people like, some people don't. You know, these Murloc decks do pull a lot of stuff out pretty quick, so you become a Highlander deck in the mid to late game, just never the early game. You've got your Lens and your Tips the Scales for the high roll. I guess mages were causing this person a problem. Ignite Mage is kind of annoying. Big Game Hunter for the even locks. Tareem's in there for some reason. Why not? It's a good card. But yeah, Murloc Paladin. It's still really good. Now this is a weird one. Okay, so Reno Priest in an off-meta video. This is what the meta has become. I had to double check this before I stated that Reno Priest was off-meta. Tempo Storm's latest wild meta snapshot, they dropped Reno Priest from their tier list. Therefore, that makes Reno Priest an off-meta deck. And so I've seen a variety of different Reno Priest lists popping out there, and they all seem to run Seek Guidance just to have just some nice curve action. I mean, Reno Priest is kind of a curvy deck. You don't really do anything on turn 1 anyway. You like to play Raza on 5, Anduin on 8. So this is Reno Priest. This is the Chinese version of Reno Priest. So on the Chinese server, they really like playing the Thief version. So that's why you see Chameleos, Cloning Device, Thought Steal, Curious Glimmerroot, Madame Lazul. This is a very popular build on the China server. Different from the Asia server, by the way. Asia is Korea, Japan, and other countries. China has their own server. They have a very different meta to what you may be used to if you don't play on the China server. But otherwise, if you really want to play Reno Priest, I've seen lots of lists similar to this, maybe a couple cards difference, but this list had one of the highest ranks I found, so give it a try. Looking at Rogue, only one Rogue deck. Rogue's in a really weird spot. It loses to so much stuff. But if you want to play a high roll deck, you could try playing Dragon Rogue. Basically, how this deck works is it evolves around Necrium Apothecary, drawing a Death Rattle minion from your deck. That Death Rattle minion being Deathwing Dragonlord. So you have to make sure that you don't draw it. If for some reason you accidentally do draw it, you've got Anchor the Buried as a backup plan to make it a little cheaper. But basically, you can proc it with, you can proc the Deathwing with the Necrium Blade. It's also the case that you might be able to proc it by playing, where's that new card? Where'd it go? Oh, maybe this list doesn't run it. There's a new card that draws Death Rattle, but this list doesn't run it. There are a couple of different versions. The Nozdormu messes people up. It's a super high roll deck though, so do be warned. It may not work for you. It didn't work for me when I played it. I just got unlucky. But when it does work, it's really, really funny. Okay, moving on to Shaman. So these next two lists are very similar, but I decided to feature both of them because one runs the Questline, one doesn't. So this is a Questline Shaman, and basically what it's trying to do is obviously progress the quest with Overload, but since you're overloading, you may as well run Sunfury Giant and get some giants out. You've got Spirit of the Frog to kind of cycle, become a sort of a miracle deck. You've got Ice Fishing to get the Flurgle Toxfin combo, which helps pretty much any Shaman deck survive. But yeah, basically get some giants out, smack them in the face with a bunch of spells. It works out pretty well. The other version I want to feature is, this one's Giant Shaman. It's called Giant because it just runs a couple more giants. So this is not a Questline version. So this one again, it's running a lot of overload cards, but this version is running much more spells. So we don't see things like Tunnel Trog in here. It also cycles relatively fast. So there is a Zephrys in here. So again, kind of like the Murloc Paladin list in the mid to late game, Zeph's probably going to be active. There's a Meat Wagon in here to help pull out the Spirit of the Frog if you need it. Vivid Spores for the Giants to make him come back. But yeah, again, just something fun to try. There is a better version of both of these Shaman decks. Overload Shaman, it's a list by Dane. It caps out at, I think he runs 1 Meat Wagon, but it's basically just 1 to 3 mana cards, or 0 to 3 mana cards. But if you want to play something a little bit less aggressive, you can try out these two. Big Shaman. Big Shaman is a lot of fun. It's not. I don't think it's as good as Big Priest, but it's just a fun deck. It used to be popular and just kind of fell out of favor because it got slowed down a bit too much. But there's nothing particularly fancy about this list to say, otherwise than if you feel like being a high roller, this would be the way to play Shaman. There are no Warlock decks because basically everything that is Warlock works. As long as you queue a Warlock deck, it'll be good. Turns out Life Tap's pretty good. So we'll jump over to Warrior. Only one list. There's not much Warrior experimentation because Questline Pirate Warrior is just so good. So no one's really bothering to try anything else. But we do have Dead Man's Hand Warrior by Martian Boo. This is a deck that he's been refining, from time to time on his streams. It's a deck that I don't play myself. I don't have the patience for these sort of decks. But if you have the patience for these sort of decks, this is a very well optimized list to try out. Speaking of trying out, if you want to try out any of these decks, you'll find all of the deck codes in the description below. And if you're a mobile user and it's difficult for you to copy those deck codes, there's a link to my Discord, which is easy to type in to your browser. You can visit my Discord, go to the deck lists only channel, and then it's much easier for you to copy and paste those deck codes from Discord into your Hearthstone client. If you want to help support this channel, you can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.